On your side in Southeast Louisiana, this is WDSU News at 5.
Terribly sad day for the city of New Orleans.
Mayor Mitch Landrieu speaks out after his predecessor, Ray Nagin, is convicted on 20 counts of conspiracy and fraud. A whirlwind day across the city today.
Certainly was. Let's get straight to the counts that Nagin was convicted on. Around 12:45 this afternoon, the jury came back and found the former mayor guilty on 20 of 21 counts. The only count that Nagin was found not guilty on was count number 7. Now, number 7 was related to one of the alleged bribes from Rodney Williams. We have team coverage tonight from all angles for you. WDSU's Travis Mackel and Blake Hansen are live for us from federal court with how things went in and outside of the courthouse. Also, we have team coverage from City Hall with WDSU's Rachel Wolf, who went to the streets to talk to residents in the city about the verdict in the case. Plus, in the studio, we have WDSU's Gina Swanson, who has more on what the future holds for the former mayor. But now, let's go to Travis Mackel with a recap on how things unfolded today. Travis?
It was an interesting day, historic day here. Camille, long range, Ray Nagin will spend a lot of time in a federal prison. Short term, we don't know where he will end up, whether that be Dallas or the city of New Orleans. But we do know, like you all mentioned, he was convicted on 20 of 21 major federal bribery counts. It came on day 11 of this trial and on the second day of jury deliberations. Now, the jury spent less than 7 hours, actually just over 6 hours, deliberating this case. That came after a juror had a medical issue yesterday, and the verdict overwhelming. Prosecutors Matt Coleman, Matt Chester, and Rick Pickens left this courthouse very happy, and it was actually a different picture than what we've seen. We were used to seeing former U.S. Attorney Jim Letton come out and essentially beat his chest about victories like this. They said nothing. We expect that U.S. Attorney Kenneth Polite could issue a statement in this case. But like I said, Ray Nagin convicted of abusing his position as mayor of the city of New Orleans in the years following Hurricane Katrina, in essence taking kickbacks from contractors to steer no-bid work in their direction. He is the first mayor in the city of New Orleans convicted of such charges. We should also point out that the mayor faces a lengthy prison sentence, possibly one 20 to 25 years. That sentencing comes on June 11th. Scott and Camille.
All right, Travis, thanks. The courtroom was sealed today. That means no cameras, no recordings, but WDSU's Blake Hansen was there tweeting the entire time. He's live at federal court with the reaction on how things went inside Judge Ginger Barrican's courtroom. Blake?
Hey there, Scott. When those jury deliberations only lasted for about 6 hours, we knew it was not a good sign for the former mayor. Still, though, he showed up awaiting that verdict and seemed very relaxed. He was sitting against the jury bench. He was joking with his defense team, rather. He seemed relaxed overall, but as soon as those jurors walked in and took the seat, and as that verdict was started to be read by Judge Barrican, he was all serious, looked straight forward. He did not seem to react in any way, despite the fact that he has been very charismatic throughout the course of this trial. During testimony, he often shook his head. He reacted to objections that were happening even when he wasn't on the stand. However, very solemn as the counts were read, 20 of 21 guilty. We also talked to Nagin and his defense attorney as they were leaving court. Nagin really didn't have much to say besides saying that he maintains his innocence. His defense attorney, Robert Jenkins, talked about the case. Take a listen.
We did the best, what we could do, and we did our best.
And Jenkins says he does plan to appeal now, and that will happen, and the formal process of that will have to happen sometime after the sentencing, as Travis mentioned, happening on June 11th. We now want to continue our team coverage now, going to WDSU anchor Rachel Wolf at City Hall with more on the reaction to this historic news.
Thank you, Blake. When Nagin came to City Hall in 2002, he came in as a reformer, hoping to clean up the way business was done. But in the end, he himself got involved in a kickback scheme. He today was convicted of taking hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes, checks, cash, wire transfers, personal services, and free travel from businessmen, hoping to seek favor and get city business, basically. We saw this trial unfold, and the use of electronic evidence, emails, bank records. It was undeniable, say many people who were watching. In the past, the Big Easy has been known for corrupt politicians, but that's now changing. Today, we talk with Mayor Mitch Landrieu, who says he's ready to move forward, and also citizens who say technology played a big part in how this all came down.
There was a loud cry from the courtroom, today that, that kind of behavior is not going to be tolerated. I can say this, that kind of behavior doesn't reflect the heart and soul of the people of the city of New Orleans, and the rest of the nation knows that.
I think with the technology and with everyone actually being in tune to what's really going on, whereas years ago when I was growing up here, you didn't have as much exposure to what was really happening, the different gears that were turning in City Hall. Now everyone has ample opportunity to read up, to see for themselves, and now you're starting to see a totally different day now.
A lot of people able to formulate their own opinion in this in terms of the court of public opinion via social media, internet, and the such. Again, a bittersweet day for many folks, saying they're just ready to move on. City council members who we contacted said that they did not want to comment on today's verdict. Live on your side outside City Hall, Rachel Wolf, WDSU News.
All right, everyone has something to say about this, no doubt about it, Rachel. And right now we're joined live in the studio by legal analyst Pat Fanning to discuss Ray Nagin being found guilty on 20 of 21 counts. Let's talk about the appeal bond standard. What's that all about?
Well, first off, he'll be on bond on the same bond that he's been on until the time that he gets sentenced and he's due to report to the institution. But he's going to ask for an appeal bond, and he'll ask Judge Berrigan for that. And the standard for him to get that is that the judge who tried the case has got to say, I may have made some mistakes and your case is likely to be reversed, which is a very difficult thing, because if the judge felt that way, she wouldn't have made those rulings the way she did. So he's got an uphill battle to get an appeal bond. In the Edwards case, Judge Palazzolo denied Governor Edwards' request for an appeal bond, and then the Fifth Circuit gave it to him. But he had that pesky little one juror that got excused from the courtroom, so he had a serious issue there.
So when sentencing day comes along in about 90 days or so, will he be remanded into custody then, or he'll have more time to get things straight before he has to report to prison?
Yeah, he's going to get at least 30 days. And the reason for that is once he gets the sentence, the Bureau of Prisons needs time to classify him and assign a place to him. And so he's going to get some amount of time for that. Usually it's 30 days. Sometimes judges give 60, 90, but standard is 30.
I've had some people ask on Twitter, why in the world does it take so long to take somebody to sentencing? Why 90 days?
Because the probation service has to do this report, and it's kind of a crazy thing. They'll ask Mayor Nagin for this is the government, remember. They'll ask him for his previous employment, and he'll say, I was mayor of New Orleans, and they'll say, prove it. And he'll have to come in and show that he was mayor of New Orleans. It's a silly process, but he'll have to show military records, health records, financial records, and they've got, remember, this isn't their only case. So I would suspect that the probation service asked the judge, please don't rush us in the standard 90 days, give us an extra month on this one.
One thing we keep hearing from a lot of people is life as Ray Nagin knows it now is over. True or untrue?
Absolutely true.
How so?
Because he went from being a rock star sitting courtside at Hornets games to going to an institution where he's going to have prison guards ordering him around. He's going to get up when they tell him to get up. He's going to eat when they tell him to eat. He's going to shower when they tell him to shower. He's going to have visitors on the weekends only on an approved list. He loses control of his life.
Stark contrast, the bravado was gone, and he was obviously humbled today.
Oh, he's going to be more humble before the process is all over. It was sort of surprising to me, the contrast from how he looked even yesterday to today. I think this guy really thought he had a chance in this case.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the only person who really thought that.
Totally different outcome from what he thought. Thank you, Pat Fanning, for everything that you've done for us here at WDSU.
Thank you.
All right.
Once again, former Mayor Ray Nagin scheduled to be sentenced June 11th. One of the questions is, where will the former mayor end up?
WDSU reporter Gina Swanson has been doing some digging. And Gina, what did we find out?
Camille, it's hard to tell just where Ray Nagin will end up. Our legal analysts say because he's facing so much time, he won't be sent into a federal prison camp, at least not at first. After Nagin is sentenced, Judge Berrigan will remand him to the custody of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Experts say he'll likely be in a low to mid-level security facility for a while. Then he may be transferred possibly to a federal prison camp. Now, normally attorneys ask that an inmate be placed in a facility nearest his home and family. Since Nagin has been living in Texas for the last few years, there are more than 20 federal prison facilities there, including a correctional center in Beaumont. There's also a possibility he could be at the Fort Worth institution as well. Then he could be transferred to Oakdale here in Louisiana, but ultimately it's all up to the Bureau of Prisons to make that determination. As you saw in the case of former Congressman Bill Jefferson, after doing time at a low security facility in Texas, he was just transferred to a prison camp in Oakdale last month. same prison Edwin Edwards served the remainder of his sentence before being released. But still, all up to the Bureau of Prisons. Camille.
All right, Gina, with that update, and our coverage of today's big story continues online on our website, WDSU.com. There you can find exclusive content and commentary, including what the future holds for the former mayor, Ray Nagin.
Raindrops on the window. I'll let you know when the sun will shine and when we'll have temperatures in the 70s. It's all in my ExactCast.
Plus, spying on your special someone is going high tech, but peeking in the wrong places could land you in jail. Find out how far is too far and if someone is watching you. Happy Valentine's Day. We'll be right back.